This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the Small Cap Discoveries Conference 2018 in Vancouver, BC. With me right now is Neil Seeman from RIWI, publicly traded company. The symbol is RIW on the CSE. Neil, welcome back to SNNLive.
Thank you very much, Robert. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's great to have you back. So, for our audience, let's start off with an overview of the company, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you very much. So RIWI is a global trend tracking prediction technology firm. We work across 4 business lines: consumer goods, humanitarian aid, the finance sector, and the international security sector, collecting unique continuous streams of predictive data.
So it's been about a year and a half since we had you on. So let's get an update. What's been going on in the company, let's say, in the last 12 months?
Well, we've really hammered down our sales approach. So historically, we were proving ourselves out. We've been proven in the highest scientific journals in the world, very sophisticated clients. Now we're in the business of sales. So recurring revenues, long-term agreements, monthly annual subscriptions, and this appeals to our clients, and we're ramping up our sales. So we had good sales up to Q2, and we want greater sales, and we've dedicated ourselves entirely to recurring revenues.
So tell me a little bit about maybe a little bit more about the technology and how you decided to monetize that for the sales strategy moving forward.
Thank you. So the technology is built upon the architecture of the internet, such that potentially billions of people using the web who encounter the web address bar stumble into a RIWI web survey or RIWI ad test, and they answer those. And we've had about 1.5 billion people in the world give us responses. Historically, the reason we moved into monetizing this is we recognized that the traditional ways of monetizing the web address bar for advertising were not effective. At the same time, out of my research unit, we were commissioned by the government to look at pandemic surveillance during H1N1, and we found that the traditional methods of collecting continuous data were not giving valuable information to understand where the epidemic was hitting hard.
Okay, so now in terms of the monetization, how is what you guys are doing different than the monetization strategy was previously done with collecting data?
Yeah, thanks. So historically, it was about paid pilots, highly transactional, one-offs. And what we realized is that our clients, especially in the finance sector and the security sector, highly value the continuous data feed. So when we realized that, when they realized that, it just made sense to go for a recurring revenue model. And that's what they're used to, and it's easy for us to price and quote and understand that and articulate that to the market.
My next question is, when it comes to, especially in the news, we see a lot about different hacks and, the Facebook hack and collecting data and different firms doing it through social media. So how is what you're doing different from those firms, and is it within compliance?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we don't collect any personal data, and we've always been a privacy paradigm first. And it's only really been in the last year since these Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, and other, as you say, hack attacks or media sort of attention-getting scandals have really impressed upon our clients the importance of privacy sensitivity, and in particular the May 25th introduction of the GDPR, the EU laws that forbid the collection of personal data, have made it very attractive for hedge funds and other clients to be attracted to our offering.
So, again, as a reminder for our audience, what's the history of the company? When did it start, and how did you develop to where you're currently at today?
So thank you. So the history of the company is such that it was at the side of my desk at my research unit in 2009 when it was legally incorporated, doing all sorts of academic work, learning about pandemic surveillance threads, appreciating that social media analytics were highly noisy, highly limited. And then we graduated, we listed without a raise on the CSE in August 2015, but it's only really been since 2017 where we've fully dedicated a sales staff, full-time CTO, full-time CFO, where we've been able to emerge and run for that inflection point.
And what's the size of the target customer base that you're looking to infiltrate?
Well, the size of the markets across all our 4 business lines are enormous. So in the security sector, we're talking international security, about $1 trillion annually. Consumer goods, $76 billion year-over-year growth of about 3%. Humanitarian aid, it's about $10 billion in terms of digital effectiveness of different campaigns across Africa. And then in the finance sector, it's anywhere between 10 and 30 billion in terms of what data you trust, but I would suggest that companies like RIWI and other data companies are kind of making the market. So it's actually quite enormous, and I would suspect those are very conservative numbers.
And what makes what you guys have developed or unique in the marketplace when you're looking at the competition?
Thank you. So we obviously we're global, so that means 220 countries and territories in the world. Very fast speed, privacy compliance, as I've attested to, the continuous nature of our data. But what sets us apart from a scientific basis is the randomization of who encounters our surveys and ad tests. And if you look back to the invention of modern polling, George Gallup in particular, he always prized randomness. And what we're recognized as having done is reintroduced randomness into data collection, but done it at a global scale and done it in a continuous privacy compliant manner.
And what's your background? How did you get into all this again?
Thank you. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I was an internet investor, trained as a lawyer, then did my graduate work in public health. That's why I was attracted to pandemic surveillance research. And then we did some fascinating work in the security sector, having predicted the fall of Mubarak and a number of important events. And some serious backers in the finance community said, Neil, you should start a company. And then I realized that government grants were a little frustrating, and running a company was extraordinarily amazing.
And from what you can tell us, what are some of the company's growth drivers moving forward?
Thank you. So growth drivers are the increasing proportion of annual long-term clients, recurring revenues in all our sectors, all our business lines, the dedication to sales, so systematic sales approach, and across all our business lines, we see the finance sector growing quite dramatically, and as well the cyber market, security market growing quite dramatically. Our other business lines, consumer goods, humanitarian work, will continue and grow organically.
And Neil, I have to ask, does RIWI stand for something?
Yes, it stands for Real-Time Interactive Worldwide Intelligence, so it's all accurate. But then there was kind of a market test where people just started calling us RIWI, so it works.
And where can our audience go and find more information about RIWI?
Thank you. So RIWI.com is our website, and thank you so much, Robert.
My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the Small Cap Discoveries Conference 2018 in Vancouver, BC. With me again is Neil Seeman from RIWI, publicly traded company. The symbol is RIW on the CSE. Neil, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Robert.